drive for a while. And so how do we overcome that? I think the way we overcome that is through things like Fuse that we started this year, which is $750 million from the Army that we already had in our budget that we reallocated to investing in small and medium businesses around the country, and actually, for the good ones, making sure that we, the Army, can buy amounts that allow them to employ more workers, to go out to the markets and raise if they need to, and grow into medium and large businesses to balance out who we purchase from. It is our first attempt, along with some other things like collapsing down how we make our purchasing decisions, that we hope improve it, but it is a space where we still need to grow a lot.
Great.
Hey, man, can I jump in? Because one of the things one of the directions the Secretary has pushed us in, our acquisition team, I think is actually doing a really good job of this. I mean, a small company might come and say, hey, here's what we can do for this price point. And, your first reaction would be like, yeah, we want 100,000 of those immediately. We dig through it to see if they can even scale. Mm-hmm. If they can't scale, we're moving on. If there's not a promise, not a promise from them, but a promise that we can see across the line that they will be able to scale and scale fast and get the price point down, then we go pretty hard in with them to see where they can go. But there's been a couple of companies that have come up and said, hey, this is what we can do. And you look on the backside, and there's no promise. And we've moved away from that because he's enabled us to be able to do this at a much faster pace.
Thank you. Just along those lines, can you just tell us what you're using to evaluate whether you're delivering faster timelines, lower costs, and better outcomes? What are the metrics or how are you measuring that?
So our new PAE structure, the best descriptor of it, I think, to me is these new acquisition teams that model how like a Tesla or a more modern company would do things, which is the equivalent of having your manufacturers and your engineers and your accountants all co-located to solve through these problems and to be able to bring in new entrants to the idea of measuring specifically. Right now we are coming up with new toolkits to try to do that. It is hard across different verticals to see who is succeeding and who is failing. And one of the reasons the problem perpetuated and existed for 30 and 40 years is measurement is hard. And so it is hard for you to be able to say, hey, you are on pace with what you told me, because there's all sorts of externalities that can make it so it's just difficult to measure and judge. But what we have done for these new 6 PAEs is we've asked them to come up with their own scorecard. We are going to compare the scorecards across the different 6, see which ones are working, and then scale that scorecard across all 6. And then the very last